Did you try that new restaurant down the street?
Yeah, I went there yesterday. Man, the food was off the chain. And the chicken was like, how they be saying that? Like, to die for.
Whoa.
To die for.
To die for?
I'm saying, I mean, the chicken was good. You know what I'm saying?
Can't you just say the chicken was good? Does it have to be to die for? That sounds a little effeminate.
Did you wear skinny jeans while you were eating the chicken?
Nah, I'm saying, I would say it was good, man.
Was it rainbow chicken?
Hold up, man. I just said the chicken was good.
Milk with a sparkly buckle on it.
Was the server doing a sissy bounce?
Man, I'm just saying, the chicken was good. Look, man, the chicken was good, no homo.
No, the time has passed for no homo.
You're supposed to say it before, brother.
It's like a disclaimer.
I can't say, I just said no homo, though. There's no regulation on when you can say no homo. What are y'all, like the regulatory governing body over no homo or something?
Brothers and sisters, don't get caught up. Don't let the homosexual poltergeist pull you in. We are the final front in the war against white sex. Stand strong. This African service announcement has been brought to you by War on the Horizon Radio.
War on the Horizon. You gotta love it.
No homo.
Every limb in this war I'm in, would you round them up and piece me back together again? Say a prayer over me as my soul ascends. Ask God to forgive me for my sins. Sorta like a czar in a set, but ruled back in Egypt. Would I return as a mythical leader? Would the rebels die with me in the name of freedom? Trapped in the bowels of this barbaric region. Gotta fight until the children stop killing one another. Cops killing bunches of us, that's enough of us. Men with the single mothers, brothers, single mothers. Let the men raise warriors. Jettison the fear, we will bear casualties of war. If we don't fight, there'll be even more. There'll be dark nights when you might lose a husband, might lose a son. There's a sacrifice for black life.
Peace and welcome to the Southbound Lane show. I almost wanted to say message to the Black Fam show, force a habit. This is the Southbound Lane show. I am going to be your guest host for today, Lady Shabazz. I'm filling in for the one and only Brother Louis Ali. I was told earlier today that he had to do some work, so he wouldn't be able to make it to the show. Personally, I think he's probably driving around looking for some crackers to put in his trunk, but that's just me. I could be wrong. He might be doing something else, but whatever he's doing, we know that it is for the struggle. So the good thing about War on the Horizon is that we're one family, and if one person can't make it, there's always a couple of people who are able to jump up and fill in. So that's what we're doing today. When I was asked to do the show today, I was kind of... I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the topic should be because I'm very OCD. And so usually I have topics planned like a month in advance. So I was like, wow, what could I do? But then I thought back to the shows that Brother Louis has been having since he's been back on the air live. And he's really set a good, firm foundation. He's been dealing with the hate that hate produced, which is a really broad subject, and you can go at it many different ways. I know last week he did the purpose of divine hatred, and I'm sure that in the following weeks he's going to have a lot of other aspects dealing with the hate that hate produced. So I thought that I would go on and use that as a base. So today will be the hate that hate produced / amnesia victims. That will be our topic for today, and I think that it's going to be an interesting one. Now, Brother Ali, when he's here, always opens his show in prayer or meditation for people who don't pray. So I am going to go on and open his show in the same way. Good God, who created the sun which shines on us from above, who rouses the sea and makes the thunder rumble. Listen. God, though hidden in a cloud, watches over us. The God of the white man calls forth crime, but our God wills good works. Our God, who is good, commands us to vengeance. He will direct our arms and help us. Throw away the likeness of the white man's God, who has so often brought us to tears, and listen to liberty, which speaks in all of our hearts. That is our wonderful prayer from the Haitian Revolution, and it doesn't matter if you are Muslim, Christian, nationalist, whatever. I think that anybody listening to War on the Horizon can agree with that prayer. So we do say that. All right. Before I get into the subject, or actually I should say leading into the subject, I do have an update or an announcement to the longtime listeners on War on the Horizon. I'd say it's been almost a year ago. If you listen to Brother Irritated Genie's show on Monday nights, 7 to 9, you may have heard a show that he did, like I said, about a year ago with a guest named Marianne Godboldo. And this woman is a really strong sister. She is what a lot of us talk about and act like we are, but when the situation comes, we may not really be. The sister stood her ground. The story was that she had a daughter who was healthy, happy, and then, like many of us do, took her to go get a vaccination. And I do caution you, if you go to get your children vaccinated, be very careful, know what you're doing, because vaccinations are very dangerous, can be very, very harmful. But she went and took her child to get a vaccination, like most parents do. And the child had a bad reaction to the vaccination. She started having some mental and behavioral problems. The medical professionals put her on a very, very strong psychotropic drug, like they're quick to do with all of our children. But the mother was smart enough to see ahead and know maybe this might not work for her. So they actually signed paperwork saying if the drug didn't work or if she didn't like it, she could take the child off the medication. Well, once the child was on medication, she started having very severe problems and behaving even worse. So she decided she wanted to take the child off of the medication. There's no reason she shouldn't have been able to. She was the child's mother. She started going around. She got a second opinion and a third opinion, medical opinion, and she finally found somebody who was willing to use both regular allopathic practices as well as alternative medications and wean this child off of this medication. Well, when the other healthcare practitioners learned that this child was going to be taken off of this dangerous medication, they called Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services, of course, went way overboard and overstepped their bounds and actually called the police. The police responded, and this is very interesting to me because in Detroit, when something happens, you could be getting murdered and the cops will show up like the next day, like, my bad. So it was very, very funny to me that they arrived. They had false paperwork, and actually, I don't even think that they showed her the false paperwork, but they had some fake paperwork that really didn't even give them legal jurisdiction to remove the child. So she didn't let them in. They didn't have a legitimate warrant. They didn't really show her any paperwork, not even the fake paperwork that they have. So she stood up. She was a soldier. She said, "You ain't coming in." Well, Detroit police sent like a SWAT team. They had a helicopter. I didn't even know we had helicopters in Detroit. Sent a helicopter, sent sharpshooters, all this madness to retrieve this child. And the mother said no. During the course of this, a gun supposedly went off. She neither confirmed nor denied that she fired it. I know what I'd like to think happened. But finally, they negotiated that she would let her daughter out if she was put in the custody of her sister. Now, this child had an aunt that could have taken her. She also had a father who was very active in her life that would have been more than happy to take her. They didn't let this child go to either one. Instead, they took this child to an institution and treated her horribly. The first thing they did was put her back on that dangerous medication, which caused her to decline. The child had a prosthetic leg, which they actually took from her just to humiliate her. And the child was very young. I'm thinking like junior high age. She was not sexually active when she went into care, but about 11 days after she was in care, they found out that she had an STD. So we already know what happened with that. So she's been fighting, and the charges were dropped. But of course, the wonderful city of Detroit couldn't let that be that. Of course, they tried to get that appealed and overturned a few times. And this has been going on a while. I think I met the father back in May of 2011, and this happened a few months before that. So they've been going through this for about a year and a half. But I just found out that this should be for the last time the charges were actually dropped. And so now she should be free to raise her child in peace, work on all the issues that were brought on by the state, because the daughter is obviously in much worse shape than she ever would have been before then. So that's good news. She should be at peace now, finally, to raise her child. I don't think that they're going to try to override this again. Hopefully this should be it. So that's good. But when we heard this story, and, you know, I was kind of guilty of it, too, to some extent, we act so surprised. And it's amazing to me. You know, we say, wow, I don't believe they did that. I mean, how can they do that? How is that legal? And it seems to me that we are amnesia victims. Have we forgotten? Have we forgotten who our enemy is? It seems like it. It seems like it to me. Because if we were aware of who our enemy was, we wouldn't be surprised when they did this kind of stuff. We wouldn't be going to them for a lot of medical attention anyway, unless it was an emergency, because we know that they're our enemy and their job has always been to mistreat us, kill us, maim us, whatever. But for us to be so surprised when these kind of things happen, oh Lord, how could this happen? We have amnesia. And it's amazing to me because we know that the black community at large has amnesia. You see a brother on the street, he don't know nothing. He don't remember a thing. We know that. But I'm talking about the nationalists. I'm talking about the Muslims. I'm talking about the conscious community. Do we still have amnesia? Because this wasn't too far. You know, they came in, they lied to her to get her to hand over her child, and then they took her, and she was obviously molested in their company. How far is that from back in the quote-unquote slave days when massa would come to your cabin and take your daughter, and there was nothing you could do about it? You just had to hand her over. This has been going on a while. And then your daughter would have to come back, and you would have to look her in the eye and try to explain to her what just happened and why you couldn't stop it. We have amnesia. They called it a belly warmer. And today a lot of our children are still belly warmers. And we're okay with that. It's a shame. So what I'm going to do today, because I usually like to have guests, I don't like to be the only one talking. However, because of the short notice, I couldn't hook up any guests, but I do have some clips today. They're pretty short, anywhere from like 5 to 8 minutes, nothing too long, but they're very interesting and very informative to show you exactly what I'm trying to say, probably better than I could say it. And the interesting thing about these clips is most of them are from the 60s. And you'll be amazed at just how relevant it is. It's amazing to me that you can listen to something from 1960 and it'll be just as relevant to today as it was yesterday. That's 50 years at least, and we have not changed our condition. That alone shows me that we have amnesia, because anybody that's wide awake would never sit back and stay in the same wretched condition for 50 years, and actually probably be in a worse condition now than we were 50 years ago. What's going on with us? We're amnesia victims. And when you have that amnesia, you don't know enough, you're not intelligent enough to know that you should be hating those that hate you. So it all ties in together. So I'm going to go to a clip really quick of a brother. His name used to be Minister John Shabazz. He's now known as Abdul Allah Muhammad. He's going to tell us exactly what an amnesia victim is.
When a man loses his memory, that's amnesia. When a whole nation of people lose their history, that's mass amnesia. This is the 22 million so-called Negroes in America. We are suffering from mass amnesia. Total amnesia. You know, there's different degrees of amnesia. Some people can remember some things and can't remember. The so-called Negro is suffering from total amnesia. If you ever see a patient that gets a blow or a shock and they suffer from total amnesia, they don't just walk around and say, who am I, like they do in the movies. That's not the way total amnesia works. Total amnesia, you forget everything. You forget how to walk. They have to teach you all over again how to walk. You forget how to talk. You forget everything. You are just like you were the day you came into the world. You don't know nothing, and you don't know nobody, not even yourself. So everything, then, you have to be taught. This is the shape that you and I are in. You forget your walk, forget how to talk, forget your name, forget all your friends, you forget your enemies. So anybody can walk in the room, you don't know whether they're friend or foe. You don't know nobody. You have to wait for somebody to tell you something. Somebody walk in, may have been the worst enemy you had. They may walk in, and somebody may tell you, say, oh, this is your partner. Well, then you go for it. Why? Because your memory's gone. If you had your memory, you remember what he did to you. Ain't nowhere in the world nobody going to tell you that's your partner. But your memory's gone. And you got somebody there that you trust. And you're taking their word for everything. You put your trust in somebody who's standing there identifying everybody else to you. So now this is your enemy. You say, oh, that's my enemy. Man walk up, you growl. Ah! Might be the orderly. Come in clear view, and we look at what's wrong with this fool. I ain't done nothing to him. You know. But that person that you trust told you that was your enemy. And if somebody asks you, well, if that's your enemy, what did he do to you? You can't tell him. All you know is that the one you trust said, that's your enemy. I want you to go to Germany and get him. I want you to go to Japan and get him. I want you to go to Korea and get him. I want you to go to Vietnam and get him. That's your enemy, boy. Oh, please, be to Allah. If you had your memory, you might have to look at the one who's telling you that's your enemy. Because if you had your memory, you might discover that the one that's telling you who your friends are and who your enemies are has been the worst enemy at all. In fact, he's the one put you in the shape you're in the first place. Now, suppose you got your memory back and found that out. You look at him a lot different, wouldn't you? You say, you've been choosing my friends for me. Tell me, don't mess with him, you get in trouble. Don't listen to that Muhammad, you get in trouble. I'm your friend. Look at him and say, now look, I've been in trouble all this time. And you had me under your care. But you said, don't listen to Muhammad or I'll get in trouble. You have to look at him awful funny. This is why the white man doesn't want the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaching you and me about ourselves. Why? Because if here's a man that has hit you in the head and given you amnesia, you wake up, you don't know he's your enemy. He's got a chance to take all sorts of advantage of you. He don't want nobody coming along trying to probe into you and make you remember. Let's put him on the spot. He got a good thing going, as long as you don't remember. So when you start reflecting and say, you know, I was wondering what this lump was on my back. I was wondering why I get them headaches all the time. Yeah, I do remember somebody swinging there is a dog bite right here in the tail of my leg. I was wondering who sicked that dog on me. I mean, I don't want you remembering all that. No, he's going to take you. And we're still talking about this amnesia victim. You can just think of a person with amnesia and just imagine the case, and then think about the 22 million so-called Negroes and see if it doesn't fit. Just imagine. Here's a man that has put you in bad shape, hit you in the head, giving you amnesia, after he did everything else to you. Then he hit you in the head so you wouldn't remember all the other stuff he did to you. All right. Now he's fortunate. He look up and you can't remember nothing. He said, oh, yeah. Oh, well, I'm your friend. I've been your friend. He said, well, where did I meet you? Oh, we've been friends a long time. Oh, I've always been good to you. Why, do you know he can come over in your house and kidnap you, a couple of your babies, ran out of the house while people shooting at him. Then he's going to tell you, and you were ruling the house, you had rubies and emeralds and diamonds, you was eating better than him, you were sleeping in soft beds while he was still running around sleeping on stone slabs, you had plumbing and toilets while he didn't have nothing, you know, big old castles with nothing in them. Just run over in the corner and do whatever you're going to do right next to the dinner table and all that kind of, that's the way he's living. But you're living good in your house. You got all the modern conveniences. He ain't even got an outhouse. Okay, you cooking on a stove. He ain't cooking at all. He has to eat raw. This is where you living. But now you got amnesia. You don't remember all that. So he'll tell you, oh, you should have seen your house. It was just all messed up. Everything all. You lucky I came over and got you and brought you over here. Kept you cleaning up my house and cooking for me and washing my dishes because you was in bad shape in your house. I mean, you was an ignorant savage in your house. You ain't got no memory. You got amnesia. You got to go for it. You said, well, boss, I sure thank you. You sure are a good friend, ain't you? Nobody else would have thought enough of me to come over there and get me. Huh, boss? So now he's got you as if your life began now. So he asked a black man about black man's history. They start back on the plantation. They start on the plantation. Man, well, how'd you get on the plantation? Don't tell us that's where all, you mean tell me black people originated on the plantation? Where we come out of cotton bowls? As far back as we go. Why? Because he wants us to believe that this is where everything started. That's as far back as we go. Right, Willie? All we got to look through is him. So he got us so that to improve means to walk more like him. To improve, to progress, means to talk more like him. To make progress and to seek equality means to act more like him. Dress more like him. Eat more like him. Amnesia victims.
All right. So that is our brother, Minister John Shabazz, also known as Abdul Allah Muhammad, letting us know what amnesia victims are. And a lot more of us are suffering from this than we realize. When you think about amnesia victims, I look at the state that we're in a lot, especially as far as protecting our young girls and women. When you look around and you see stories like, I know Warner Horizon, we always talking about R. Kelly, who basically raped a little girl in front of us, urinated on her, disrespected her in every way possible. And we get on the brothers a lot for still supporting his music, but I'm going to tell you, the biggest supporters of him are women. Biggest supporters of him are women. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of women have already been through that. And because nobody helped them or because they have normalized it in their life, they're like, oh, well, I mean, she shouldn't have did it. She was fast anyway. Now, it's amazing to me because when I see news stories with white women, they can be 27 years old and they'll still categorize them as a girl. They'll still categorize them as naive, innocent, all the stuff that you know isn't true. But that's how they look at their white women. It could be a 27-year-old who got raped, or a 27-year-old who decided to have sex and all of a sudden she becomes a girl who got raped. They always try to make their women innocent, but we don't do that. Men or women, we put them out there, well, she shouldn't have been fast. Well, where'd she learn to be fast? Where'd she get that behavior from? Somebody obviously did something to that child. Obviously. And even though 9 times out of 10 today it was a black man, but where'd that black man get it from? And where'd that person get it from and that person get it from? It always goes back to the white man. Every time. But we have amnesia. We don't remember the times when we used to have each other's back. You know, the people who were misguided and were in the civil rights marches getting dogs sicked on them and all kinds of stuff. We don't remember those times when we stood together hand in hand before we started coming into conflict and being against each other and seeing each other as the enemy. The only way we see each other as the enemy is if we are suffering from severe amnesia. I saw this with a documentary that I'd seen about a girl who had run away from home and ended up going on the street, meeting a pimp, and becoming a prostitute at a very young age. And one day she was sold to a white man. Had to be 40, 50-year-old white man. And I'm sitting here, I actually saw this documentary at African American Museum here in Detroit. And it was just a messed up story. It was horrific. She actually ended up, she was scared. She got scared that this white man might do something to her. You know, he had all these guns. I don't know if he was ex-military, but you know how them crackers are kind of off, and you know that they're off, and then you get in a situation as a young girl and you're like, oh my God, what do I do now? What have I got myself into? This cracker's crazy. So she ended up killing the cracker. They say as he slept, I don't know, but she killed the cracker. And I think she ended up getting life in prison. And there's more than one story like this. There's a bunch of them. So she ended up getting life in prison. And I'm sitting here, and when they opened it up for comments at the end, I'm expecting some kind of outrage. But they all tended to agree that she should be punished for killing this white man. Nobody cared about the fact that she was like 14, 15 years old and this old white man was sleeping with her. That didn't matter. What mattered to us is that she killed the cracker. And it's the same thing when you listen to United Front around a bunch of black people. Oh man, you can't talk about killing white people. You can't talk about that. But the music you listen to every day talks about killing brothers. That's no problem. Talks about killing brothers, raping women, killing women, disrespecting your own community. That's fine. But you put some cracker in the trunk on, it's a problem. It's amnesia. We look at a lot of times with the police, they've been really out of order for a long time. And not even just the police, white people in general. It's starting to come to the forefront more, but they've been at it for a while. It got a little bit more prominent once Obama got in office. But I remember just a few years ago, a brother getting found hanging from a tree. And I think later on they decided that it was a lynching, but for the longest time they was trying to say that he hung himself. It was suicide. And then now we got a brother handcuffed in the back of a police car who they supposedly checked before they cuffed him and put him in the car. Somehow he found a gun and shot himself in the head and committed suicide. Amnesia victims. You have people like Eddie Long, you know, because it's not just the girls. We have people who are raping our little boys. And you have churches full of people who support it. I actually fell out with one of my cousins over that, because she's like, girl, who are we to judge? We can't judge that. Excuse me. You must be out your mind. And it killed me, because this is one of those women that done raised hell her whole life, and now that she's in her 40s, she done decided to calm down and get married. Now all of a sudden, she done found Jesus and been redeemed and been saved, and now she can't judge nobody. Probably afraid because she gonna be judged. No, we've all done stuff in our past. We all have cemeteries in our closet. That don't mean that you can't judge somebody when they're wrong. Who else is going to judge? Some spook in the sky? Justice is given by men and women. But it just killed me because these are the same women that will bring their children to church. I've seen people who they might find out that their minister were molesting children or something like that, and they'll continue to bring their children there. And somebody will say something about the priest or the pastor molesting children, and they'll say, so what? They ain't the only ones. Like it's normal. Like this is how we've always been. Like we should let that go and not try to have any level of decency. It's amnesia victims. There were times when, before the welfare system broke our families apart. And that's always very interesting to me when I found out about it. I think I watched the movie Claudine and saw how they forced men out of the home so that we could get aid. But it was amazing to me because white people are on welfare, and that's no problem. You go out to these farm countries and look at all the aid and finances they get. That's welfare. But they don't take the man out the house. They keep that man in the house and let him grow the corn and do whatever else they want to do. They get plenty of welfare. Businesses get plenty of welfare. Their men aren't forced to leave, but ours are. And we think that's okay. So that began to drive a wedge in between us. And then we had feminism come in and drive a wedge in between us. And then we had hip hop come in and just deal the death blow. But while we're busy looking at each other, we're forgetting the past. We're forgetting who's really pulling the strings and who did this to us. We're amnesia victims. I'm going to play another clip right now. This is by Brother Malcolm X, and it's talking about the conditions that we face in America. And it's also going to talk about protecting the black woman. Now, if you want to protect the black woman, you have to know your history. Ain't no amnesia victim gonna feel the need to defend their woman. We see that every day. So this is Brother Malcolm X.
Here in Harlem, we have the worst homes to pay the highest rent. And faced with this high overhead, we are forced to take in roomers in order to help us pay our rent. You all experience that every day. You rent one of these old rundown apartments here in Harlem from the white man. And he charges you so much rent for that apartment, you got to rent part of it out in order to get some of your money back. So what happens? Our apartments become filled with relatives, with strangers. Our community becomes overcrowded. And these overcrowded conditions under which our people are forced to live eliminates all chance for a normal home, for a clean home, or for a healthy home. Your home soon becomes filled with cockroaches and rats who live better than you do. And because our children are forced to grow up in this overcrowded atmosphere, the lack of much-needed privacy destroys their sense of shame. It lowers their moral standards and leaves them exposed to every form of indecency and vice that is running rampant in the community. Our young girls, our daughters, our baby sisters become unwed mothers before they are hardly in their teens. 12 years old, 11 years old, 13 years old, running around here with babies. Our community has thousands of unmarried mothers, mothers who have no hope of ever getting a husband. All they can get is another baby, and another baby, and another baby, but never a husband. And because of this, our community has tens of thousands of little black babies who have no father to act as their protector or their provider. As it was mentioned in the last rally, the only provider many of our children know is the white welfare agent or the white social worker. And because of this, many of our children mistake the white welfare agent or the white social worker as their father. And sometimes they're right. You see all these little half-white babies running around in the community. They're not that way because you and I want them to be that way. The white man rapes and ravishes and takes advantage of our women. He'll take your little sister. Yes, he will. Your little baby sister is the potential bait for every white man in Harlem. Your little daughter, your mother, your wife. Ask them sometimes. Every time they walk past the white man, he hits on them. He thinks that they're animals that he can abuse at will. This is where you get all these little half-white babies running around the street. None of them know who their daddy is. And all of them think that the white man is their daddy. And as I said, most of them are right. And if you and I, if we don't wake up and keep that white man away from our women, our race will really be destroyed. Keep that white man's claws off our women. Make him know that the best way, yes. I never would stand up to an audience as large as this and fail to warn you of the importance of protecting your own woman. You can't go in a white neighborhood and get a white woman. You can't get the white man's daughter in his neighborhood. You can't get his wife or his mother or his sister in his neighborhood. Then why should you let him walk around here in your neighborhood with your wife and your mother and your daughter and your sister? If you do it to him, he'll bust your head. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Remember that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Do you understand what I'm saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let him know that the price he'll have to pay when he pats your woman is either the loss of his hand or the loss of his arm or the loss of his head. And if you go to jail for taking his head, you went to jail for a good cause. You can go to prison and say, I came here because I defended our black women from the filthy paws of that blue-eyed white man. Yes, I'm saying it and I mean it. You can go in hotels around here and find these white men laying up there with black women. now you just snatch off their head. I mean, snatch off their head. You and I will never be respected until we get some respect for this black woman. Make her straighten up, and then straighten out that white man. And there's nothing wrong with that. No, what I'm telling you is not wrong. I'm telling you what is right. If he respects his women, then let's respect ours. And if he'll hang you for molesting his woman, you got your right to hang him for molesting your woman.
All right, that was Brother Malcolm X. At that point, he was not suffering from amnesia. Years later, it seemed like maybe he got hit on the head again and started going back in that direction. But at that point, he was not an amnesia victim. He was wide awake. It's amazing to me now, listening to that clip. It used to be, and I think for a lot of people, it still is very disturbing for a black man to see his woman with a white man. And it's something that black women have been dealing with forever. We just kind of had to learn to deal with it because what can you do? But this is a fairly new thing for a black man to be confronted with black women dating white men in the open. And it seems like, I don't know, it's crazy because I've actually seen black men now promoting it and saying, well, go ahead. I mean, you know, you got to be happy. I never thought that day would come. And it's very disappointing to me. That a black man would turn his woman over to a white man. That's amazing. But it's happening more and more. And I don't know if it's because black men just don't want black women, so they don't care. They feel like they aren't losing out on anything. Or if they've just really lost that much manhood to where they don't feel, because a man should feel some kind of possessiveness towards his women and children, or any women and children of his race. I think for any man, it would be bothersome to see them walking down the street with somebody else. I know white men don't like it. Sometimes they'll tolerate it, trying to be politically correct, or a lot of times because black men date like the lowest trash that even white men wouldn't want. Some hungry hippo looking white chick. You know, but they're still bothered. They don't respect that woman. And deep down, they hate that black man that they see with their woman. Where is that masculinity at with our black men? Why do we think that, you know, it's okay, it's whatever, we're all one big family? Again, it goes back to that amnesia. It's ridiculous. And we have to really combat this. Like I said, I'm not just talking about the brothers in the street. That's obvious. When you walk past some brother with his pants down past his butt listening to some hip-hop music, you don't even know what they talking about. We know they got amnesia. We know they don't know who they are. We know that they don't know the black man's God, or that the white man's the devil, or that they're following the ways of the white man, or that they were born to be great. That's obvious when you look at them. I'm talking about the conscious people. The people who sit up here and, you know, it's funny to me. We'll say cracker, we'll say peckerwood, we'll say black power, all this stuff. I wonder, do we mean it? Because like I said earlier, if we really meant it, if when we said cracker, we meant cracker. When we said peckerwood, we meant peckerwood. When we said devil, we meant devil. We wouldn't be surprised by the things that are going on. And I constantly see, especially on Facebook, every time something happens, it's this shock. It's this, oh my God, they did this to us. They did that to us. I don't believe it. Why don't you believe it? How long does somebody have to be your enemy before you know that they're your enemy? 200 years? 300 years? 500 years? We got to make it even 1,000? I mean, when do you know? What does somebody have to do to you to show you that they're your enemy? I mean, it's so bad that the migratory pattern of sharks in the Atlantic Ocean shifted from eating our bodies as they tossed us overboard during the Middle Passage. That's why I'm always happy. I hear about a shark attack. I'm like, hey, go for it, good, because I know they ain't attack no black people. It's always a cracker. But shoot, eat on some of their flesh. You done had enough of ours. What will it take for us to really understand that these people are our enemies and the depth of that and what it really means? And that maybe, just maybe, we need to start protecting ourselves. And that gets into a whole other scary situation that we don't want to address and we're scared of, and we want to just, you know, oh, God to take care of it. God got my back. Yeah, but God also helps those who help themselves. And what God are you praying to anyway? Because if you're praying to the same one and look like him, he ain't going to help you. He going to help the person who looks like him. So that's just, it's amazing. I mean, that actually gets into the Nation of Islam itself, which I'm not really going to get too far into. But I've noticed a lot of us getting weak. And this isn't just one group. You know, there's a lot of different groups of Muslims under many different leaderships. And over the years, over the last 17 years or so, a lot of people started getting real weak. A lot of people are starting to go for things they wouldn't have went for before. You might even see Muslims with devil friends now. Like I said, more than one organization. And it's just amazing to me. It's ridiculous. I've had people tell me we're not supposed to call white people the devil anymore. What's that about? They'll even lie and say, oh, the messenger said don't call them devils. You a lie. 1974, he said devils. You a lie. He ain't say that. But this is all things that are going on to weaken us. And, you know, basically just turn us into another civil rights organization. A lot of times I've been told by the Muslims that I'm racist. I'm hateful. I shouldn't be like that. And the thing is, you cannot successfully teach hate. I know, because I try every day. I don't care if it don't work. I still try to do it. All you can do is teach the truth. And then it's up to that person if they want to hate or not. Hate's got to kind of be in you. If it's not in you, you're not going to do it. So you can't teach somebody to hate. You can only give them the truth. And that's something that they like to try to use against you. It's almost like saying homophobic or anti-Semitic or all these words are like, ooh, they're so ugly and you don't want to be tainted by being called that. If you care, I personally don't care. But, you know, it's one of those things. And a lot of Muslims do that to try to weaken the strong ones, to make the strong ones ashamed of their position. So the last clip that I'm going to play, and then I'm going to go to the phone lines. The call-in number is 760-569-7676. Again, 760-569-7676. The participation code is 948656#. That's 948656#. Go on and call in. Show Brother Louis Ali some love. I know that you're not hearing his voice today, which is what we all know and love. But show him some support anyway, since he could not be here. The next clip that I'm going to put forward is for the Muslims specifically. This is going to be the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talking about teaching hate, talking about weak people, and talking about his feelings towards that. So next time you feel yourself bending over or slouching and you need some energy to kind of get that back straight and stay on the path where you need to be and stop being a punk. I shouldn't have said that. Instead of getting soft and not standing on your position, then remember this clip and it might help you get right. This is how the person that you say that you're following felt about weak people.
Since you are such good black Negroes and love everything but another black Negro, if I'm teaching hate, what is that out in Little Rock? What is that in Chicago? If I'm teaching hate, what is that in Harlem? Huh? Why are the police beating the head of your black brother in Harlem? Why are they beating your head everywhere? Is that love for you or hate? If I'm teaching you to love yourself as you should, as a brother, you don't charge me with teaching hate among you. Huh? What are you arguing about then? If I teach you that you and I should love each other as brothers, fighting time for each other as brothers, be in unity as brothers, defend our brother and our brother's wife and he and you say I'm teaching hate? No. What are you charging me with hate? What are you charging me with hate teaching? Here a few weeks ago, every stud, rabbit stud like man jumped up after me, calling me a hate teacher. And for 25 years, I've been teaching you. You never called me a hate teacher until the white man called me one. As soon as they branded me as a hate teacher, they didn't have to publish that with one time. You never have tried to say anything of the good that I'm doing for you. But you've taken a hold of all the evil that they charge me with. Flying through the streets, closing your door. Some as old race hate people. What race are we teaching you to hate? If we are teaching you to love yourself, and we are proving it, here I have thousands of followers throughout the country. Hundreds of thousands. What are you talking about? I'm teaching hate. How can I teach hate to these people? Now the trouble of it is with you. You want the white man to know that I'm a black nigger and I'm on your side because I would like to be a white person like you. I'm so sick of a lot of old coward people, I don't know what to do. Sitting around in our midst to run back and tell the white man he's teaching hate. He thinks that you're the devil. I want to say to you, I'm not teaching you to hate the white man. Love him, mister. Love, love, love. Love him. Then it's up to you. But I'm telling you that that day is over, and I don't see that sun rising anymore. Even such people charge as teaching that the doom of the white man could be made a charge against Muhammad, while all of his white scientists is teaching their own doom. Every sane white scientist today will say that the white man's day is done. Everyone, they know that time is up. Here comes a white black lover here. He will say, it's a shame he's out there teaching that the white people will be destroyed. My good white man. And what these bad niggas is going to do if our good white man is destroyed? I say go talk to God about this thing. He said that they would be destroyed at the end of 6,000 years through the mouth of all of his prophets. You have it in your Bible in your home. I'm not adding anything. Not taking anything away from the prophet. If the white man's time is up, it is up. And if I tell you it is up, Mr. Fool, and you don't want to believe it's up, be going around. It don't make me no difference. After being beaten, walked upon, spit upon, linked, hurried, weighted down in chains and balls of iron, sold from one plantation to another for 3 long centuries. Now overnight, you love your slave master so well that you defy God. He would talk about removing them from the planet. And will kill all of his prophets and messengers if they talk about the white man is not to live forever, or that the white man is the devil. Even though God says so, don't you say so, because I love him. Love him, mister. Love him, but go back and read. The Bible says that the devil will be destroyed and all of his followers.
All right. Now, I was trying to censor that. There was a couple words in there that I tried to block out. My finger slipped, and I don't know if I got the volume down low enough. So if I did not, then I do apologize for that. But I just wanted to just give a honest opinion about what the Nation of Islam should be like, and those of us who represent the nation who always want to not be as strong as we should be. If you could just hear the disgust in the messenger's voice when talking about people of that ideology who were not present in the nation at that time. He was talking about the so-called Negro at that time, but a lot of us Muslims are slowly going back to becoming so-called Negroes. So I am going to go to the phone lines. We will keep the show going as long as we have callers. As I said, I know a lot of you were tuning in expecting to see Brother Louis Ali, but we are going to try to keep the show going for him. Again, the call-in number is 760-569-7676. The participation code is 948656#. Again, 948656#. So if you have any comments or anything about the topic of the hate that hate produced, amnesia victims, call in and we will definitely come to you. We will go to our first caller now. 8257, your line is open.
Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
All right, yes.
How you doing?
Just listening.
Oh, I said, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Good, good. Do you have any comments on any of the clips that you've heard today or the subject matter?
No, just where to find these clips. I would like to have them in my possession. Once again, just something that we are going through right now, but that also reflects back to being hit over the head. So right now we are victims of amnesia, but we have to, wait out of that state so we can move forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those clips actually are from some very old lectures. You can find most of them on a site called noiwc.org under audio video files. The first clip was called Amnesia Victims by, he's now known as Abdullah Muhammad. We've all seen him in The Final Call. Back in the day, he was called Minister John Shabazz. He was in LA, very strong minister, very underrated minister. Probably one of my favorites under him. So there's a lot of those speeches on there you can find. And the second one from Malcolm X can be found on YouTube. It can also be found on noiwc.org. I think it's something called Keep Your Claws Off Our Woman. So you can type that in and see what comes up. And the last one is a lecture that the messenger did in the early 60s when he was still in very good health. He was really on fire on that lecture, and it's one of my favorite ones because at the end he actually read a letter from the KKK that they wrote towards the Nation of Islam. And I can't play it here. I got to find some software to let me censor because my hands aren't that quick. And, it's the KKK, so they were calling us the N-words and all kinds of stuff. But they were basically just afraid that black people in Harlem under the Muslims' leadership were actually going to take over. And so they were trying to recruit people from the South to come up and become cops and police officers to try to keep us down because they said, look, if we don't do something right now, these people are going to take over. We're going to be in trouble. So that was one that was given, like I said, I think in 1959. I forget the exact name of it, but that is on the noiwc.org site as well. I think it'll say something like maybe the messenger in Newark or something like that. And it has the whole lecture where you can, at the very end, hear the KKK letter, and it's just hilarious. We had them so shook. It was funny.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, all right. All right, then, thank you.
You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum. All right, we got 6560. You're live.
Peace.
Peace, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. This show is on fire this evening.
Thank you. Now, let me ask you, because you're coming in a little bit shaky. Can you hear me okay? Or am I coming?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. What I'm going to do right quick is just call back in so I can make sure that all the lines are clear, and that if for any reason you are coming across shaky on the recording, that it's not, it doesn't keep going through on the recording, so you can come in clear, because I know you got something good to say. So can you give me just 1 second? All right, one moment.
Access code accepted. This conference is being recorded.
All right, Brother Body Shots, let's see how that is.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's much better. They messing with the connection again. We know we've been going through this the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, man, this show, man, nice. I look forward to Sunday. This is how I get my week started. Strong black talk. Yeah, it don't look good, as far as the collective amnesia. I don't like to give excuses, but we struggling and we striving, trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. And so in that commotion of the everyday, vicissitudes of life, sometimes we have a tendency to forget what just happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that's no excuse. But the collective amnesia is, wow.
It's true, because as soon as Trayvon came, we forgot about Troy Davis, and as soon as something else happened, we're going to forget about Trayvon.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's true. And we also let these clown power brokers off the hook. Like Jesse Jackson goes to Trayvon Martin rallies and say, y'all can wear hoodies, young black people, just make sure you got a voter's registration card up under your hoodie.
Whoa, he said that?
Yeah, he said that.
So
and everybody went home, and now there's a big push. My wife just went back to the church that we went to, the House of Prayer, and they in there at one of their national conventions telling everybody they got to vote because this is somehow going to change our situation. I mean, we've been voting since the 60s, but now, all of a sudden, voting is our way to salvation.
So the voter registration card, is that going to deflect the bullet, or what's that going to do? It's like a body shield? What is that going to do?
That's for amnesia. Going for the same trick.
And that's so true, and it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about on Jeannie's show tomorrow, Monday, from 7 to 9 p.m. We're doing the Trial of the Martyrs, and it's been a rough month. I think everybody has been extra angry, extra belligerent this month. I love it. It's been great. But we'll be talking about Obama. And I remember when he first became president, or was running for president, everybody thought I was crazy because I said, don't vote for him. I said, his mama's white, his daddy from Africa. He ain't even got a really relationship with his father from Africa. He has no ties to us. He's not going to do anything for us. Now, I didn't know that he would be as foul as he's been in Africa, but I knew he wasn't going to do nothing for us. And now that it's coming around again, I just saw somebody on Facebook talking about, if you talk about Obama, I'm going to delete you from my friends list. It's the same thing, and we can't say why we like him other than you might think he's handsome, or you might think he's black, or, whatever. You can't tell me a policy that he's done that's really helped us. Really.
Amnesia.
But he'll help them fags.
And the crazy thing, though, is we so dumbed down. I mean, desensitized. Do you see any Chinese people walking around? You see any chinks walking around talking about something, we want a chink in the White House? Do you see any Mexicans walking around talking about something, we need a Mexican in the White House? No, because they're busy establishing themselves economically because politicians are bought and sold. So once you got an economic base, you don't need to see your nationality in the White House. Politics will automatically gravitate to where the money is.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also weren't foolish enough to integrate in the first place. So they kind of keep to themselves. They have their Chinatowns and their Mexican towns, and they have a lot of power locally, which is where it matters. The federal really don't matter as much as the local a lot of times. But they don't have that false illusion that we have that, ooh, I'm going to be like a white person. Because, you know, as soon as we make it big, we move out of our hood. We move right up to be by them. They don't want us up there by them, but we move right up there to be by them nasty devils. You know, so of course we can't be united. We can't have any kind of base because the people amongst us who have power are always fleeing. And that's why we can say, oh yeah, we need a black person in the White House and whatever, because we really think that we're part of this society.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? But then you talked about hatred, and you know, I couldn't help but to think of this recent small hat that went up in the movie theater and shot everybody up, right? Mm-hmm. That's a lot. It takes a lot of hatred to do that, right?
Yeah.
But when I saw him in the court, he was sitting there, but guess what? This cracker was at peace with himself.
Yeah.
So that let me know right there, you can have all the hatred in the world and still not be consumed. He wasn't consumed by it. He's sitting there chilling at peace.
And see, the thing is, and the difference is, you know, they just don't have a conscience, so don't nothing bother them. But even black people, we do have a conscience, but when you have enough divine, righteous hate to know that what you did was not wrong, what you did was liberation, what you did was war, what you did, you know, was not something that's going to send you to hell or something you should feel guilty of, is something that was necessary. We can have that same peace of mind that they have. You know, they gonna have it because they ain't got no conscience. We have to get over our love of our enemy, all this Christianity crap that's been pumped into our brains, and we can have that same peace.
Exactly.
Because for real, I couldn't see King Samir doing something like that and then him not being at peace. You know what I'm saying? You once you have that knowledge and once you're strong, I think that you could probably do that and have the same amount of peace. Could you imagine King Samir being accused of something and then being like, oh, I feel bad about it. I can't sleep at night. Man, he will go home and sleep good.
Right.
And I'm just using him as an example because that's like the most strong, outspoken person that we all know of here. But I mean, I just couldn't see him being like, oh, I feel so bad. Why'd I do that? Lord, forgive me.
Right. And it's crazy because our people, they immediately, once you talk about hate, they immediately, oh no, that'll consume you. That's the wrong type of energy. No, you won't be at peace. Nah, not so.
I think it's the opposite. I think you're more at peace when you do have that hatred because you know where to direct it. You know, when you don't have that hatred, a lot of times you internalize it and you feel like this is my fault. There's something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? But when you know I hate you, this is why I hate you, you've earned my hatred, and there's nothing wrong with it, you feel good about it. Then you still have anger, but it's directed anger. It's not all the time. You can, like, a good example of that would be Khaled. When you see him on Donahue or in a debate or something, you see that, you know, all that anger and that passion. But then when you see him on the street talking to a brother, he's just calm and at peace with himself and everything's lovely.
Right.
So I think we need some more of that.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Dr. Barashango said that the Creator has sent warriors for a time such as this. They're in the streets. We just need to redirect them. And to the other point that you was making about protecting your women, you know, this pale-faced butcher is, I mean, he is just a beast of a, I mean, wow, he's so diabolical. You remember this movie Denzel Washington played in called Man on Fire?
I never saw that movie. What was it about?
Oh, man. I might have tell you this about. This is a spoiler alert.
Okay, I'll watch it. Go ahead. Make sure I watch it, but
the whole movie is about Denzel Washington as a black man. He falls so insanely in love with this little white chick.
Oh. Okay, I already don't like the movie.
Oh, yeah. This little girl, this little white chick, to the point he goes out and he starts to kill for her. Wow. And in the end of the movie, he actually dies to save the life of this white little girl.
Wow.
So the theme is that the black man should lay down his life for this two-legged dog But at the same time, we're getting fed the same prepared propaganda that we should dog our own women.
Crazy. It reminds me of a movie, I think it was called, it might have been American Jihadist or something like that. And it was this brother who was an Orthodox Muslim. And personally, I think he was like a CIA agent. And I don't use that term lightly. I actually do think he was a CIA agent because nobody else could have got away with this. I think it was had to be in D.C. There was some kind of delegate or something from Iran was it Iran? From some Arab country that he actually assassinated in D.C. And he's still walking around. He got away with it, but he did it for this Islamic organization, this Islamic extremists that they were working for. And then, he went through all this. I don't know if he served any time for it or not. Like I said, he was a CIA agent. If he did serve time, it wasn't a lot considering this was like an important international man that he killed. And when it ended, he was over in like Yugoslavia or Serbia somewhere, married to some cracker with 2 mulatto children, living it up. And it was all good because she was Muslim, so he could get away with it. And I was like, ain't that something? You won't kill, for the injustices. I know you in D.C., I know you done seen some stuff. You won't kill for your own people, but you'll kill for some Muslim organization and then go get you some ugly cracker wife. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, and he was like a real jihadist. I think he was in Iraq. That's all he did was go around fighting holy wars when the real holy war is right here. They've been in war with us for how long?
Anything what black will do.
Yes, sir.
That's insane. Hey, before I get off the line, though, I know you're in the documentaries and whatnot. There's this one by National Geographic called Eternal Enemies. And it's a documentary about pretty much hatred that lions have for hyenas.
Mm.
Yeah, you gonna love that one.
So I should peep that out?
Oh, yeah. Eternal Enemies. I think it might be on YouTube, too.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. I think that's one thing. We need to learn this stuff because, like I said, it's so frustrating to me. You expect that amnesia from people in the streets. You expect it. Nobody's been out there to wake them up. But when you get into the nationalist community and you see some of this soft stuff that's going on, really, it's disgusting. And really, once you are awakened one time, you shouldn't have to be awakened 2 or 3, 4 more times for you to get it. You should know. So that. I don't know. That's just been on my mind. It don't make no sense to me.
Wow. You heard them hard tonight.
I'm just trying to hold it down for Brother Lewis, and that just came to my mind. It's ridiculous. I'm just tired of seeing the soft stuff. We should know better, and when we know better, we should do better.
I see.
You got anything else for us today?
Nah, I'm going to go ahead and get off the line.
Okay, thanks for calling in, brother. Peace. All right. Again, the call-in number is 760-569-7676. That's 760-569-7676. Participation code 948656#. That's 948656#. I know that Brother Louis Ali is not with us today, but we're still going to support him. And I hope that I haven't made y'all too angry with me today. But if I have, shouldn't be soft. That's what we're talking about. We waking you up, amnesia victims. Call in, let me know what's on your mind. All right. Next caller, 3674. You're live.
True. Peace and black power, black love.
Peace. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I turned to the show, and I kind of caught what you were saying about how forgetful black people.
Yes,
I want to quote Uncle Tom, who said something very serious too. Back during Katrina, Tavis Smiley said we as black people forget too quickly, and that's the God honest truth. We forget too quickly, and I agree with you 100% on everything you said. About us as people forget too quickly, and even with the Trayvon Martin thing. One thing I say about Trayvon Martin is just the ability of us always want to assimilate with white people.
Mm-hmm.
They have a way of controlling our emotions. Because I honestly feel white folks made black people care about the Trayvon Martin incident. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because right after that, I'm explaining Zakiya Board to other black folks, and it seems like, well, they kind of gave me this, white folks ain't too interested in it, so
I ain't too interested in it. You know what I mean? And, on an ending point, I want to say, when I was a little kid growing up, there used to be a Muslim masjid not too far, Nation of Islam, from me. And I never knew the scope of what the Nation of Islam was as a kid, because I was in the Christian church, which was right down the street from it. And, I used to see the brothers out there and everything like that. And on one point that you said, right, when I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking, first of all, I didn't know that was him. I didn't know he spoke with such tenacity like that. I kind of made out the voice during the middle of the speech. But do you think what's going on, I want to hear from a person who is a Muslim. Do you think that the refinement of white supremacy has gotten so refined to where our people in general, and in particular the Nation of Islam, can't even see the racism that was so in our face in them times there?
Ooh. I would have to say yes. I think that integration killed that, and it's amazing to me because really the racism we say is subtle now, and really ain't that daggone subtle. I mean, they blasting on us all the time from every direction, be it unemployment, be it police brutality, be it other economics. I mean, it's obvious. It's really not that subtle, but because things have so-called become so subtle, yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, just having a so-called black person in the presidency, in that office, for a lot of people, that's heaven. They don't need nothing else. It don't matter if they walk down the street and get their brains blown out by some cop, as long as they know, we got a black person in the White House. He ain't did nothing for us, but we got a quote unquote black person in the White House. That's all we care about. And even before that, I've noticed, like I said, in the Nation of Islam, I have friends who will sit up there and they call the white man the devil just like I do. But when I get to talking, they'll still call me a racist. I said something about a Jew one time, and they're like, "Wow, you said a Jew? That's racist. Why are you so racist?" And I'm like, "Are you in the same nation I'm in? What's wrong with you?" So I think so.
Man, our people is really in a state. But you know what? I'm gonna say this. It's not all of our people. Because I'm a person, when I'm out here, I like talking to my people. I ain't got time to be skinning and grinning with our people because we joke so much. If we ain't skinning and grinning, we doing some old corn business, or if we ain't corny, we playing sports. We're not serious. Marcus Garvey said the new Negro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have to be a serious white man. Our people ain't serious. Our people like up dancing and bootlicking too much. But I find a lot of times with our people, when I have one-on-one with them, they're more than willing to be informed about it, but really it's no platform for them. I say, I'll reference the War on the Horizon, but really the platform that they're looking for is what the Nation of Islam, what the UNIA, what the Black Panther Party have for. And I see so many times we can actually fool our people. Like this morning, I took a taxi cab to the brother in the cab. It's the only taxi cab I actually called because it's a black-owned taxi cab. I try to get our people to purchase from black businesses altogether. I mean, I live in a black town, and ain't nobody buying from black businesses, and it's only non-black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
In the whole town, you know what I mean? But that the refinement of racism is a real dangerous thing because it's making our people blind to the facts. And if I could reference back to the show on Thursday with the Elder Ajabu, what the judge had said, he said if Obama wins the re-election, it's going to be a race war, not if he lost. So meaning, if he lost, black folks wouldn't create a race war. But if he wins, white folks is more than willing to create a race war.
That's
keep that in mind, black people.
Yes, sir. That's very true, and that's why I'm very happy that I'm not the only one. A lot of people on War on the Horizon is stressing this survival thing. We're behind. We're at least 20 years behind. These people have been preparing since the 80s. They've been stockpiling food and weapons and everything else for decades. And we were cooning. We were listening to hip hop. We were playing basketball. We were shaking our butts. We was going to strip clubs, getting drunk and smoking weed or whatever. We've been being silly while they've been preparing. And if we don't do something quick, we're already behind. But if we don't do something, it's going to be a massacre. If these crackers don't come through and shoot you up, then you're going to starve to death. I mean, it's going to be some serious stuff coming up. And I know for a fact that they'll do it because here in Detroit, there's a city outside of Detroit called Dearborn. It's got the largest Arab population in America. And, you know, they have all their businesses. They have their restaurants. It's like going to Lebanon or something when you go over there. Very strong Arab presence. But when 9/11 happened, white people still drove through, shot up their mosques, shot them walking down the street, tried to hit them in their car. And the hatred towards Arabs is nowhere near the hatred they have towards us. So for us to think that they're not going to come into town and do all that kind of stuff is crazy. And I agree. You know, luckily, like on the East Coast, there's a lot of consciousness. Almost everybody got some consciousness. When you start moving out to the Midwest and other states, you don't have that as much. But a lot of times, if you talk to people, you're right. They do know some stuff just from history or their own experiences. If you can get past that whole Jesus thing, you can get them, you know, to have a little consciousness and agree with you on certain things. But you're right that we don't have that infrastructure like the Nation of Islam had or the UNIA had, because really, even if you're conscious, you need discipline. You need some kind of rank and you need discipline. It's very hard to discipline yourself when you're out there and you're coming from being slave-minded, doing all kinds of stuff. It's hard to stop. You got to have a group of people with some kind of infrastructure to where you all agree, we're going to get together, steel sharpen steel, we're going to be decent people, because a lot of times the vices that we have get in the way of us ever being productive. Yes, sir. So do you have anything else for us?
Nah, just on the Obama. I just wait till tomorrow night's show to speak on the Obama thing. Because Lord knows, man. Some people just caught up with this modern day Jesus called Obama. Just like they caught up with the old white boy Jesus. So, all right, that's all, Queen. Bless and love.
Love to you too. Peace.
All right.
Yeah, we can't go too far into Obama today. We can't be stealing Jeannie's thunder. We know we're going to be coming hard tomorrow on Obama. That's funny. Actually, I thought Clinton was more entertaining than Obama. I don't understand why everybody like Obama. Clinton gave us more stuff to laugh at and entertaining. If that's what you want, that seems like that is all we want. Because like I said, he ain't doing nothing for us as president. So the only thing we could be getting from him is entertainment. And they say Bill Clinton was, quote unquote, the first black president, which is so insulting because they say that because he was with a white woman, he was adulterous, and he smoked weed and played saxophone and all those kind of stereotypical things. And he was also one of the presidents that were pretty daggone harsh on black people, and that we really did not benefit under, whether we believe it or not. But he was entertaining. He did give us entertainment for 8 years or so. So, all right. Looks like that is all of the callers that we have today. We had a couple more, but they dropped off when I started talking about us being too soft and having amnesia. That's okay. You got woke up a little bit. Come back Monday night, you'll get woke up some more. Come back Tuesday night, and you're really going to get shook because you have 2 shows. So Monday night, we got Irritated Genie, 7 to 9. He's doing the Trial of the Martyrs. We're going to finish it off talking about Obama. That's going to be a harsh show. I can tell you that already. Tuesday, we have my program, Message to the Black Fam. We're going to be featuring Brother True from United Front. 2 weeks ago, we had Brother Bomani and Brother King Samir, and they were excellent. Brother Bomani is brilliant. King Samir is brilliant. This week, we will be having Brother True, and we're going to talk about courtship and mate selection. It's going to be pretty funny because I think we're probably going to share some of our courtship horror stories. So there's probably going to be some funny stuff in there that I probably shouldn't even be admitting to, and him too. So I would tune in for that. Right after my show, we're going to have the Cypher program. And they always have a great topic. They're on from 9 to 11. Wednesday, we have Brother King Samir, who will be back with us. And then the Thursday after that, we have Brother Ajabu. So we have a full line ahead of us. So for those of you who couldn't hang on the line, I shook you a little too hard. That's all right. Come back tomorrow. It'll be more of the same. Actually, I don't know. You might get jolted tomorrow. I don't know if you want to come back for that. But that is all that we have for you. Brother Lewis should be back with us next week. Thank you for still supporting his show. And we will go on and end it. Peace.
They say I'm 3/5 human being, but God, I just don't see it. Plus a subhuman is the one teaching. Plus a subhuman is the one leeching. Let's start with Rat Cat Dog. That was hybridized to give you the hog. Trichinosis, and that's the arteries clogged. You scream for more Lord and the Lord. What's your genus, species, kingdom, or phylum? What tribe you from? If you don't know, better find you one. The living cadaver, cave dwelling, cracker, dog, best friend. Wants you to emulate him to the very end. Yeah, while you kill your hair and bleach your skin, they tan and plumping their lips up to be your replacement. But this ain't raid for roaches, this is full-scale warfare. But you looking for fatigues, guns, and bomb skins. Look in your refrigerator, the weapons are there. Look in your medicine cabinet, the weapons are there. Jumpy nagapa go to more there. They the walking dead that torment the target. Snakes shed skin, but not their nature. History that goes unchecked is deja vu. That's why we need a data who, like the Haitians do, like Jamaicans do, like Cuffy and Guyana, Africans in VA, my dude. That's why they spray my food. Why I need a shot every year about that flu. Word, y'all so advanced, can't cure a sniffle. I guess cure for cancer is out the window. I guess age just gon' have to do what it do. Scarier, what about malaria? Vaccines for your schools? Shit, I feel like a real drug mule. Then again, there's riddling and things that swing my mood. Make a mammal feel like an amphibian in the lagoon. I'ma reach out to the lagoon. Me, I go resurrect Imhotep to save my crew. What about you, brother? What you gon' do? They gon' jail us, slay us until we slew. They say we lucky that we ever grew, but fuck luck and fuck you. I will instruct those that will obstruct your rule. Tool or no tool, training and dedication to make it go smooth. Move never relenting, that's the enemy you lose, and they wounds protrude. We like wolves howling at the moon, screaming, yo, rule! 3 fish, human being, but God, I just don't see it.